Okay, today we were supposed to do the hardtop to convertible door conversion, but the weather is not allowing it, so we're gonna do stuff in the garage. Alright, since the weather didn't allow us to do what we initially planned on doing as far as converting the hardtop door to convertible door by removing the frame, we're gonna do stuff in the garage that we can. It's starting to rain out there and it's a little chilly for us Californians, so we're in the garage now just doing a couple other things. One of them is going to be to freshen up this headlight assembly. All right, it's a sealed beam, old style headlights that were used back in the day, and yeah, it's not too bad, but it's a little dirty and rough, a little bit of rust on it, so we're going to go ahead and just freshen it up a little bit, make it look nice and clean again. The thing is to turn back the adjusting screws. These are the adjusting screws for the headlights. There's a spring here that creates pressure and wants to push the headlights down. Okay, so these there's plastic here, so if they're difficult to unscrew and it looks like it's gonna break, spray a little bit of lubricant on them. Even if they're not, it's a good idea. That way you don't have to replace those these plastic pieces. I mean, you can find them, but I mean, there's no sense in doing something that, spending money on something you don't need to. So let's go ahead and back them up as much as possible to get pressure off these springs here. So the idea is to get pressure off the springs as much as possible. Okay, just a Phillips screwdriver here. Okay, you can back them off all the way, but I prefer just get them out. But I just want to loosen them up, just take all the pressure off the springs there. Okay, that looks pretty good there. All right. Okay, once that's done, then I use this handy dandy dual purpose screwdriver here. It has both Phillips and flathead. Then take the beauty rings off here with these flathead screws. Okay, be careful. Now there's two of them here. Okay, nice and easy. All right, move the headlight, all those sealed beam headlights, old style, and you can take the beauty ring off the spring there. Alright, that's off. Do the same thing on the next one. Screws get lost very easy, so I suggest use something to put them in. Alright, same thing here. Move it. Okay, that's done. And then these just kind of slide off like that. Slide in, slide off. Okay. That's what we're left with. Now let's go ahead and take these adjusters off. Same thing. It's flathead screwdriver. You might need a little wrench for the back side. Let me see if I can get them off without putting anything. You can use pliers or a wrench. Yeah, see, once you loosen it, then the back just comes off fairly easy. All right. Okay, now what I like to do is put the nuts back on and the washers and everything, so you know, help you remember where they came from. So if you don't have anywhere to necessarily put them, you can do that. That's an option. They do get away a little bit when you're cleaning it up, but you can remove them and just put them back in. That way you keep track of all your screws. If not, put them in like a little tray or a little dish, or even Ziploc bags is what we're putting a lot of the stuff in from other parts that we're not going to use right away, and try to label them to know where the screws came from. And that way it keeps it nice and organized for you as you're doing this. And this helps with pretty much anything you take apart. And a lot of times I'll even tape them if it's something that you can't screw back in. I'll use a little bit of painter's tape or something to tape them where they go in. Because a lot of times when you take something apart and you forget where the screws go, it's very easy to do. I do that all the time. So this makes it, like I said, it just helps when you're putting it back together. Okay. So we'll go ahead and finish the last two, and then we'll paint it. All right, and there it is. It's all taken apart. What do we do next, son? Now that we got it taken apart. What is that? Sand it? Clean it, sand it, get it looking all nice again. So that's what we're gonna do next. Okay, we're just gonna use a drill with a wire brush on it. Get in there and just clean it up a little bit. Okay, and so far this is where we're at with it. The idea is basically to just remove the rust before we paint it. You're not going to really be able to see this, so it's not important to get it perfect, but just nice and clean. So now on to the paint for this part. Alright, on these housings, I think these are a different material. They're like galvanized or something, so that they don't really rust it like the other materials do. But we're gonna just go over it with a wire brush and the drill just to clean it up. I already rinsed it off and washed it in the sink, so let's clean her up with a wire brush now. Like I said, these are galvanized, so it's just a matter of getting them clean, get all the crud off of them. I'm not going to be able to really see them, and you know, no need to paint them because I don't think the paint really sticks well to galvanized steel. So, and it'll give it the original look anyway, so it's pretty clean. They're smooth, a lot smoother than they were. The next thing we're going to do is clean the beauty rings. I've already kind of cleaned this one. Okay, this one still needs to be cleaned. See, it's put them side to side. There's a you can tell the difference. This one's quite a bit cleaner than this one. So all I'm doing with this is a little bit of steel wool and some chrome cleaner. I use this turtle wax chrome polish. Works pretty good. Put it on the steel wool. I'm almost out of steel wool. I'm gonna have to go ahead and order some more. And just kind of rub it in. These are stainless steel, so you can clean them up fairly decent compared to how they were. I mean, it's not something that you see a lot of. When it's on the car, you mainly see the headlights and the cover for the headlights, the chrome piece that goes around it. But still, we want to get it nice and clean because you will see the front of it, and as long as it's clean, most people aren't going to notice too much if they're old. These are pretty old. You can get them. You can actually get some new ones. They're not real expensive, but these are original to the car, so I'm sure maybe they've been replaced once or twice. These tabs would break off every so often when you're replacing the headlights, but for the most part they're in good shape, so we're going to reuse them. No need to spend money when we don't need, because it is just everyday people garage project, and we're trying to keep the costs down as much as we can. So once you do that, give it a little wipe down with a rag. This is just for demonstration purposes. We'll go over it again a little more careful, but as you can see, it's a lot cleaner than it was. So we'll do it one more time on both of them just to get them nice and clean, but that's it. Alright, before we get started, we're going to clean off this area because the parts are nice and clean now, and I'm going to try to keep them that way. I mean, eventually they will get dirty once they're on the car, but for now, we want to keep it as clean as possible. So let's go ahead and clean our work area here just a bit. There we go. Okay. Alright, there it is, nice and painted. It doesn't have to be perfect. You're really not going to be able to see it. It's more for rust control, and you know, just keep it from continuing to rust. Came out pretty good if you ask me. All right, nice and clean. First thing is the adjusters. Give them a little wipe down. Remember, I put everything together to keep it nice and organized there, so they're all the same size. Doesn't really matter which one goes where, but make sure they have these little lock washers on them. There goes first. Come on, fingers, work. All right. 1, 2. Okay. Screwdriver. Don't over tighten them because you will break them, but they do have to be nice and snug. That's one. It's a good idea to put a few turns in them, make sure that they go in straight, strip them or anything like that. This would be the same process for pretty much any type of light. I mean, it might be slightly different, but it's basically the same process. I remember I used to do a lot of bugs and Volkswagens back in the day. It is different for the most part, but the concept's the same. If you're having a hard time with the nut, you can't hold it with your fingers, just use a crescent wrench or socket that fits it, or I mean, you can even use pliers. Pliers tend to scratch them up a little bit. It's really not the best thing, but if that's what you have, then you need to use them. That's fine also. We don't always have all the tools that we need, so we have to make do with what we have. We do that all the time here. When we were using the drill on this, it would have been nice to have a bench vise to hold it and make it a little easier, but we use clamps or whatever we had. In some instances we put it on the floor and use our foot to hold it down, so just make do with whatever you have. Nice and snug there. All right. Okay, remember they're pretty much all the way out. Make it easy for us. Okay. Next thing we're gonna do is start putting the headlights in. Now the headlights go in a specific way, and okay, I went ahead and cleaned the headlights. I mean, of course, it's always better to buy new ones, but since we're on a budget here, we're gonna just test these out, make sure they work before we put them in, and just hooked it up to my charger. Okay, low beam, high beam. Okay, that works. So this one's good. Now we're gonna try the high beam on this one. It doesn't really matter which one's ground and which one isn't. The other one it does, but all right. Can you see that there? It's good. They're both good, so we can use them. Okay, when you're doing this, be careful because these housings are a little bit different for the high beam and the low beam. Where these tabs go, they're slightly different. So we almost put the wrong one on for the high beam here. So we went ahead and fixed it, swapped it out, and now they'll fit right where these little indentations are. These grooves are. These will fit right in, and that helps you line up the headlights the way they're supposed to be. Okay, so once they're in there, then it takes a little bit of little force here just to get the beauty ring. There. Make sure it's. Oh, forgot to take the screws out first. Make sure the screws are out. Remember, we put them in to not lose them. Just make sure you take them out. It's not a big deal if you don't. Not too difficult to get out. They weren't too tight. All right. Okay. Make sure they're in the grooves. Yeah, not moving around. Screw them in. Yeah. They're in the right spot. Alright, that's pretty much one's down. Now, one more here. Same thing. Okay, we'll test fit this first. Yeah, fits right in the grooves. Okay. Let's remove the screws this time. Oh, see, go right side up. Cannot go upside down. It will not shine properly if they're not right side up. You'll have problems adjusting them later. In fact, they'll be pretty much impossible to adjust. Not a real difficult thing to do. A little patience. New cars are completely different the way the headlights are set up, so this is not the same. Actually, some of the cars even need special tools to get into it, or they're real tight areas to get the bulbs out. Now they're just you just replace the bulb, you don't replace the whole headlight. Most of the newer cars. Maybe one of these days we'll get to do that on a more modern vehicle when we need to. And voila! Much cleaner, better. And that's it. You can adjust them back down if you want to make them look a little bit more even, but when they're on the cars, when you do your final adjustment, there's actually a tool to adjust them. Back in the old days, we just put them in front of a wall and adjusted them that way. And that's it.